Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned. I'm here with the coach, John Brett.
I'm here with the vet, Ian Griffin.
And we have Mr. Potato Head.
We're here with Mr. Potato Head.
Yes.
Been around for a long time, buddy.
He has.
You don't let them tell you what to do.
At all. So, you know, the world has done lost its mind because everything gets offended. Everything offends everything. And, you know, I wanted to bring a Dr. Seuss book, but apparently I got it in storage somewhere. And so a couple of things with old Dr. Seuss, you know, first of all, the president, and I think that was the second thing, he took it off the Read Across America list. And although when he was vice president, it was kosher to read it across America then. But now all of a sudden things have changed. But bottom line, 6 books from the Dr. Seuss Enterprise, which was founded in 1993, were pulled. And those books were And to Think I Saw It on Mulberry Street, If I Ran the Zoo, McElliot's Pool, and Beyond Zebra, Scrambled Egg Super, and The Cat's Wizard were all pulled. And once they were pulled from the publishing house, people started wanting to buy them all of a sudden real quick. You know, they're going to be a treasure.
Sure.
And then eBay went ahead and said that they were offensive material policy they violated, so then they pulled it. So offensive material policy. But although until yesterday, you could buy Mein Kampf on eBay, and they pulled that from my understanding. I'm not 100% certain on that, but Mein Kampf is my life. I don't know.
I mean, shouldn't you better buy any book? I mean, Communist Manifesto is not really probably the best book for society, but we sell it so people can read it and learn history.
I mean, I'm not a fan of Hitler. I do study a lot about him, and I would like to know what's all in Mein Kampf. I've never read it because the fact that was many years before he made it to power, and maybe there's something in there that could give us shed some light on some things.
I'm just from the open book policy and everything.
Yeah.
Sell whatever you want. I don't care what it is. Show any show you want to watch. I don't care what it is. And let us decide if we want to watch it or not. Because there's a lot of things that I think are offensive that I wouldn't. I mean, just like something like if you're going to have a BET, can you have a WET? No, I think that's crazy.
Yeah.
That somebody has to say, yes, you can, and no, you can't. And then we have to go by some policy.
Yeah, who's that person?
Who is that person?
Who is that person?
Who's the person that comes up and says, my little buddy here is now starting to be offensive? After all these years, my little buddy now can't be Mr. Potato Head?
Yeah, it can't be.
Why?
I don't know.
Can I call my wife Mrs.? Why?
If you want to, I'm still going to call him Mr. Potato Head.
Right.
So there's, there's a lot of things, and people like to point things out in regards to this is, well, if you use the word Mr. or Mrs., you're offending me. How am I offending you?
How am I offending you?
Well, we've been doing that for years. So if that offends you, what offends me is you don't like if I'm supposed to respect that you don't like the word Mr. or Mrs., because that's only the foundational of English language. If you don't like that, then, and I'm supposed to respect you for that, why can you not respect me on my education and how I was brought up properly according to, scholastic standards?
Sure.
Why can you not respect that? And we just disagree and not make a big deal out of it.
And that's just something I'm trying to unpack recently, is I'm supposed to respect the fringe. I'm supposed to understand the differences. I'm supposed to respect what they think. But whatever happened to them respecting us? Because if you say, well, it's been this way for so long and now we want it to be changed, what if I want it to be the way that it was? Are you going to respect me? So, can I call it Mr. Potato Head? Can I call my wife Mrs. Botman? Can I call my daughter a girl or a she? Or do I have to not do that anymore for you? No, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, so I'll say this is, I'm going to give 2 examples here. In the military, the last 15 years I was in, we had to get away from terms honey, sweetie, and all this other stuff, because honey, sweetie, and all this other stuff could be construed as being sexual in nature, things of that nature. You know what? When I go to the dentist on post, the dentist assistant, hey, sweetie, she sit right here. I know she don't mean nothing by it. I got it. And am I going to sit there and go, hey, lady, you can't say that to me? No, I'm just going to respect her because that's how she was brought up.
Right.
The second thing I'll say on this is I've had to talk with people from other countries a good bit. Most times with translators. Sometimes they speak English because, I'm not educated enough to speak another language. I speak barely any English to this Texan language we speak. But as we're sitting there, there's things that don't jive with our cultures. That's a fact. But I do not do this. Hey, you can't do that to me because we don't do that like that. No, I listen to it, I take it in, and I understand where they come from, and I move on because it's a mutual respect thing. Because of that, because I respect how they act, is I gain instant respect from that. Mm-hmm. Because I don't criticize them or look down on them. I go, wow, that's just a different way of looking at it. It's what I think.
Right.
You know,
now, with the book issue with Dr. Seuss is, okay, well, I heard someone say, well, they only took away 6, they left 45 other ones, so why are you complaining about it? This offends some people.
It's just the beginning.
Who is going to be the person that sets that standard? We've talked about this before. There's a line that's going to be moved around depending on who's in power or who's offended, and that's going to always dictate what we have to do or believe, and it's a never-ending movement. Why can't we just have everything, and if you don't like it, don't buy it. If you don't want to see it, don't do it. But to tell me that, this thing here offended somebody. We're talking about this in a pandemic. We're talking about Dr. Seuss books, and we can't even get a COVID bill based just on COVID passed. We've got, I listened to the news the other day. We've got 3 channels talking about the previous Trump, January 6th, and we're not talking about the new president, what's going on with the COVID, what's going on with the economy, what's going on with the gas prices. We're not talking about what's going on. We're talking about this dude. And
this kind of leads into something else here. As you know, Coca-Cola came out, and they said they
almost made me curse again.
Yeah, Coca-Cola come out, and if anybody knows me, one of the things I love the most, I love Coca-Cola. I love a Coke product. I hadn't drinking one in a while, but I like a Coke product big time. But I'll say this, is they came out with a policy to say, hey, we need our people to be less white. What the flip-flop is that?
Imagine if you told any group that you need to be less black, less Asian, less anything, how this would have played out. It's like now white people have to digress. Instead of we want equality of everything, we want more.
Yeah.
It's just like women's lib. They started out wanting to be equal. They went way past that now. That's not enough for them.
Yeah, so I will say this is why can't we just all respect each other for who we are and appreciate what they bring to the table, no matter who they are? Why would I want to be less white? Why would I want somebody to be less black? Why would I want somebody to be less than their culture? Because their culture, you know what, builds their characteristics and helps define them. And that's what makes them special.
We hear it all the time, black power, black pride. We hear, and that's, I'm fine with that. I really enjoy hearing that. Had a friend of mine was from Puerto Rico. He had so much Puerto Rican flags and pride. It was ridiculous. I think from Mexico, they fly a Mexican flag. I see them all over town. I don't think anything bad about that. But why do I have to start feeling bad about being white or being American or being Texan or being anything?
Why should I have any guilt?
I'm going to be who I am.
Yeah. I just say what it is, if
people are insecure.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a state that I would talk that bad about, but there's really not. Maybe New York. But even if you're from New York, I know a lot of people from New York that has tons of pride that were there when the 9/11 attack happened.
Oh my God! And remember the whole country had pride.
Yeah, but that state, they got some great things going on. Although there's some things I don't like how it's being managed, but that's neither here nor there.
I don't want to cancel anybody. I do not. I remember reading about when I was in college the book burnings that went on in England and in Europe. That had to do with religion, pretty much. They want to have certain books to be read. It makes me think of Footloose, the stupidity going on.
Yeah.
Dude's trying to burn the books, remember? The preacher goes, whoa, we can't just burn books.
Slaughterhouse-Five was on the book list there in Footloose. Today, there are places that ban Slaughterhouse-Five. Just don't, if they don't want to read it, they don't have to read it. Otherwise, let them read it, But shaming somebody or like, I need to have a policy for you to be less who you are. You hit the nail on the head, Coach. People that know me, I have a very interesting family. I have a family that's partially from Europe. We have different cultures there, and we got part of it from the great nation of Texas. State of Texas, excuse me. Mm-hmm. And then I have a person of color. In my family. What's crazy is this privilege stuff. Of all my kids, the young man that has the white collar job is a person of color, where my other kids are not. Is that mean it's any special anyway? No, I don't think there was any privilege at all. I think that's what he focused on. That's what he wanted to do. Where my other kids, they focused in a different direction, and that's what they wanted to do. And there ain't nothing wrong with either one of them, you know. And
to try to include everyone, as society is trying to try to include everyone into everything to be equal. What you're doing is you are separating others, and you're bringing other things out and people apart. By trying to make everybody together, you're pulling people apart. We're going back to tribalism worse than we ever had because we're trying to be so this way, and you're separating people.
Coach, one of the first podcasts we did, and I don't remember the name of it, but I said this in there, and I'll say it again. In an effort to not offend everyone, in an effort not to offend that one individual, you've offended everyone else.
Absolutely.
You have offended everyone else.
And a lot of these things that we talk about with this or something, I've never seen any, transgender, I still have not seen one person before the transgender bill that was signed and for athletes doing what they're doing. I still haven't heard anybody on to take up to say, you know what, we don't need to be a Mr. Potato Head. I haven't heard one. Yeah. So, but why do we have this even going on? Because there's this small people somewhere that are making all these decisions that are scaring the crap out of these countries. I think the ACLU would be somebody we could probably look at. They're usually involved in all this crap. So, it wasn't just Mr. Potato Head. It wasn't just Mr. Give me my syrup.
Yeah, and Jemima. Man, are you kidding me?
That's been a staple.
Yes. And now it's Pearl Milling Company. What the flip-flop is that?
Okay, when
I can rest assured I will never buy Pearl Milling Company because I don't even know what the heck that is.
Pearl Milling Company sounds like, first of all, it sounds like a beer.
Yeah.
The Pearl Milling Company sounds like a beer. Like I'm buying some kind of beer. Speaking of beer. Yes, sir.
Good old Viking mug right here. Yes.
Yeah.
So, with Pearl Milling Company, I'm a log cabin guy myself, but the way we're going, log cabin refer to mountain.
What about Mr. Coffee?
I
was making my coffee and pouring it, and I was like, wait a minute, this says Mr. Coffee on my coffee maker. Is that going to be offending now? Because it's not Mrs. Coffee? Or it's just got to be coffee?
Yeah. So we watch a show.
Or pronoun coffee. I don't know.
My wife and I watch a show called Billions, and then there's Asia Kate Dillon in there, and she plays a unique role because she is a non-binary person, and she plays a non-binary person in this, and she uses singular pronouns, which are them and their, and her character's interesting, and I have no problem with it. What I do have a problem with is don't call me he or don't call me she. That's not really ever portrayed in there, and because you don't tell me what to do, so why should I tell you what to do?
I have never been offended by somebody calling me Sonny or honey or hey guy or hey dude or hey little fella or hey little John when I was growing up. I've never been offended ever by what somebody said.
Well, think about this with sports teams.
Oh my gosh.
The Washington Redskins are now the Washington
Football Club.
And so this is my deal. People say, well, hey, the term Redskins offended me. The term Washington offends me, to be quite frank with you. But that's another story in itself. Not George Washington, not the state of Washington, not Washington, D.C. Just the term of what comes out of Washington offends me. The football team offends me because I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. So should they just change all the way around or what?
Right. And I got a 32-year-old student in my school right now. His name is Larry Durant. I don't care. He wouldn't even care that I used it. And he is actually from Durant, Oklahoma. And guess what? He's an Indian. And he's offended that they changed the name.
Well, I know many Indians, Native Americans that are offended by that. Right. Now, my other question is, what about the Atlanta Braves? What about, the Cleveland Indians?
Oh, we can't use Eagles. Because I hate calling up the Eagles.
Yeah,
I'm offended by the Eagles.
I don't like the Eagles, Redskins, not the Washington football team.
I can't believe that the Pirates haven't been pushed. At some point in time, the Pirates will be up. For going forward, if this continues and we don't stop it, and this only way it's going to stop it, we go, this is the 95% that this offends on the other side of it, go, this is stupid, is got to finally stand up. Or the 5% that thinks everything's offensive is going to determine what this society does. And I'm tired of it.
Yeah. So, Coach,
get me out of here.
Coach, so this is what I say. Tell us what offends you. That's the first thing. We want to hear that. And, hey, if we're not seeing it the way you do, let us know. Enlighten us, please. Or if you think this offensive nature of society, you cancel everything. I think you hit the point on the head, though, earlier, Coach, is who's the determining person for this? Who is the person that makes a decision? Is it that 21, 23-year-old fact checker on Facebook that's making a decision that says, hey, I got my 4-year degree and I feel like I'm smart
Right.
And I'm making decisions on behalf of business people who've been
Right.
around 30 years, who have master's degrees and everything else.
If it's books, is it librarians? Is it
Yeah.
books? Is it legislators? Is it books? Is it Amazon?
Yeah.
Somebody's going to determine this.
Who's
Why
gonna
would I get to determine?
Because I said this before,
This little fella here, he feels so hurt.
but just remember, Joseph Stalin was the determining factor in Russia because he could not have the Jews have a harder plight in life than the Russians. So in their history books, the Jews are not acknowledged in their plight and struggle they had with the Nazis because they could not allow the Russians to have anybody else that they see in a harder plight.
Wow.
So we just rewrite things because, that's the decision maker there. Who's the decision maker here? What's their name? Joseph who? Joseph what Facebook? Joseph what Amazon? I'm just asking.
Yeah.
So,
Well, get us out of here. My little buddy's offended.
yeah, so on behalf of Mr. Potato Head and the coach,
Right. And on behalf of Mr. Potato Head, which I love, and the vet, we say,
stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned.